Hey guys, so in my previous videos, I told you how I would take my games and devices to school. And guys, let me tell you, that was a whole mission within itself growing up. Now, as I told you before, as a kid, my mom had very strict rules on devices and when I could use them and how I could use them. Like if my bed wasn't made exactly the right way, or if I didn't sing in church or participate in certain things, I didn't get those privileges. And even when I did jump through these insane hoops, even though they most likely weren't insane hoops, a lot of people probably had these type of rules that they had to do to be able to have certain privileges, but my mom would only grant me like 30 minutes, maybe an hour if I did comply with these rules. Now, come on, guys. When you're a kid, do you really only want to play your games for like 30 minutes to an hour? Heck no, you want to play them all day. You want to be on it. And let me tell you, I absolutely loved my devices, whether it was my Game Boy, whether it was my Nintendo DS, whether it was my CD player or radio, which I blasted Usher and Beyonce to a lot. Anyway, that's another story, but don't even get me started about it. And even if I went over the time limit, my mom would take them away from me. And it's horrible, but I would play this game with myself. Of course, it wasn't a game to my mom, and really, to be honest, it was borderline disrespectful. But as a kid, I wanted to play my games. So when I would get them taken away, I would play this game of hide and go seek with myself. Mom would put them someplace where I couldn't find them, and I would go around the house and look all through things to find it. Now, was that a shitty thing to do? Yes, absolutely it was, and I do not suggest that anybody do this. So anyway, once I would find it and get it back, it was another mission within itself to get it to school. Of course, and sometimes my mom would check my outfit and check my pockets because, well, before I'd gotten caught taking things to school. So when I would take things to school, I would have to hide it in my no-no zone. Exactly. So I would be out there and have it right in my pants, right in my underwear. But anyway, this is going to be the story of how one day I took it to school and it ended up badly. So this takes place in about ninth grade. It's just another day. I successfully smuggle my game on the bus. I get to school, link up with my friends, and at the time, I'd acquired this new game, and it was one of my favorite games of all time. It was from the Grand Theft Auto series. It was Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. Now, if you remember Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, it was exclusive on DS, and it was exclusive on other platforms as well, but I had it on the DS, and it was a shock to me because growing up, I didn't get to play like rated M games like that. Like I had like stuff like Mario and like the Wii and stuff like that. So, and it was even crazy getting this growing up. So anyway, I go to friends and I'm showing them, and they're just as shocked as me. They had never seen Grand Theft Auto being able to play on the DS. So, and I told you in my previous videos that growing up, I was finessed and picked on most of my school life. So there was one kid this day, he was notorious for finessing certain kids and cheating them out of certain things. We're going to call him Terrence. So we're sitting in the back of the classroom, and this is one of our extracurricular periods. I think it was music class or something like that. And we had gotten done early. And the music teacher was really laid back. Ah, Mr. Smith. Shout out Mr. Smith. I wonder if he's still piping on this earth. Ah, shout out. He was an awesome music teacher. And really, to be honest, as long as you participated and did the worksheets or whatever, then you were able to relax. You could be on your phone or whatever. As long as you were quiet, and did your work, you didn't mind what you did. So anyway, I'm in music class and I'm showing my friends the game. And anyway, Terrence walks up and he notices that I'm playing this game. And he notices and he says, well, I've never seen that game before. And of course, me being a naive kid, I wanted to show it off. I was like, yo, yeah, man, it's Grand Theft Auto, like on DS. And he was like, yo, I've never played that on the DS. He was just as shook as all my friends. So anyway, he sat down and watched me play it for a while. And being dumb and naive, I'm telling him all the types of things that I've already like beaten it and all the levels and stuff like that and the side missions. So I get the gears turning in his head. Unbeknownst to me, gears are turning in his head already. And that particular day, he was already on some finesse shit. He was extremely nice that day. He even shared some of his lunch with me. I think that day we had like pizza or something, and he completely gave me a slice of pizza because he had like he had money. He was one of those people that always his mom always gave him money, and he was always buying like the really deluxe stuff. Like he'd buy like the deluxe cheeseburgers and stuff. So he completely gave me his tray and bought a completely different lunch that day. And so, I was like, oh shit, I thought I'd grown a little bit of a status, you know what I'm saying? I thought maybe he was gonna be nice and, had a little bit of respect for me. He was being extremely nice, and I thought maybe he got tired of bullying me. He was like, yo, I love Grand Theft Auto. I've never played that one. I have a DS back at home. Would you mind if I maybe borrowed it, hold it for a couple of days? And I was hesitant. Of course, I told him no. This was the only really nice game that I'd had, and it was just by a stroke of luck being able to buy that game at all. Because I don't know if they still have these rules in effect, but back when I was growing up, if you were under the age of 18, you couldn't buy M-rated games. You'd have to have a parent or guardian with you. And at that day, when I went to go buy that game, when I went to go purchase it, I actually it was just by a stroke of luck. I had a really laid back cashier. He scanned the card and let it slide. He didn't say anything, plopped it in the bag, and I jetted out of there. And already on top of being, having to really like skirt around and like having a strict curfew of being able to play my games anyway in the first place, I was very hesitant. But of course, as always, being the naive kid that I was, seeing that here, if anybody was to give me a slight show of kindness, I let him borrow it for a couple of days. And let me tell you, it was one of the worst decisions that I ever made. That night when I got home, it was even worse because my mom ended up finding out that I took my DS to school, and she ended up taking it away for a couple of days. So when I came back to school a couple of days later, when I had finally got it back, I had confronted him about it. I said, hey, do you think you're done with that game? Like, I would like to have it back. And of course, he gave me some lame excuse. He was like, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry. Of course, absolutely. I'll bring it tomorrow." A day goes by. The next day, "Oh man, sorry, I forgot it. Parents was rushing me out of the house." Every day after that was an excuse. And I stopped asking him for a couple of days, maybe just to give him time to settle down, even though it was mine. I was just that type of kid. And the next time I asked him about it, his demeanor changed. Turns to me, looks at me coldly, and quite frankly and flatly, he said, "Man, I sold that game. Your shit is gone, man." And walked off. And you know how when back in the day you used to watch Tom and Jerry, and how one of the characters would get played or they'd do something dumb and they'd turn into the donkey with the dunce hat on, and it would say like dumb or jackass? Like that's exactly how I felt in that very moment. And I remember instantly reverting to like a small child. I was like, but wait a minute, what do you mean you sold it? I couldn't even find words. And I remember I went to like one of the counselors or one of the teachers or the staff, and I was like, hey, is there anything you can do? Like, I let this kid hold my game and he's not giving it back. He says he sold it. And of course, can you guys check his pockets? And of course, they couldn't do anything about it because I'd given him the game. And guys, that was the unfortunate time when I got my favorite game finesse from me. Well, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you want to hear more stories like this, or if you want to see more gameplay, or if you want to see more videos of gameplay and this. Anyways, guys, I love you. Mwah.